Girl, I be like, where you know I'm from? You so slick, so small, curvy, teeth all pearly, hair all curly. Was a tomboy, now you all girly, never look tired.
Welcome back to my video, Rose Gang. It is a pleasure to see you guys. As you can see in the title above, today's video is going to be how I made $79,000 in 1 year at the age of 21. So stay tuned. So how the story starts is me working a 9 to 5 just like everybody else. So I actually got into the market through pharmaceutical sales. Yes, that's right. I sell drugs legally. I'm the plug, okay? So I actually started doing pharmaceutical sales. I was making $11 an hour plus commission. I'm the kind of girl who can sell things. So while everybody's making $2,000 a month, I'm making $300 to $3,200, sometimes more, on just commission alone because I can sell. If I'm being honest, when I got into the industry, I could not pronounce a single word. Couldn't tell you what the drugs was. But I knew that I had to sell it, so I started to sell. So forgive me if I am looking at my phone. It does jot the notes of what I made. So, like I said, I started doing pharmaceutical sales. Typical 9 to 5 job, just selling drugs. I was the plug, literally, for pharmacies. This is not clickbait, for pharmacies. I was literally the plug. So what I did that was a little bit different since I am an international woman. So I started targeting those, more foreign pharmacies, and then I became everybody's connect, and literally I was the plug. So that's kind of how I ran up in that pharmaceutical kind of business. So that's what I did. So while everyone's making $2,000 a month, I'm making $3,200 a month through pharmaceutical sales. That's just where I started. And it was cool and it was fun and I liked it, but the job got so demanding. Like they want you to keep going. I'm making them $100,000 a month already in sales. Like, what? And then they want me to do more. Then I'm doing 160, and my pay is not changing. You know what I mean? And now they want to confiscate your phone as if we're in school. And I'm just not the kind of girl who likes being told what to do. So that didn't work out. So I decided that I was going to just stop and work for myself, figure out some way that I was going to make money and be my own boss, make my own hours, and not have to rely on any single person on anything at all. I want to wake up when I want to. I want to eat when I want to. And I just don't want anyone to tell me what to do. So at that point, I turned 21 years old, and I looked into different streams of income, like side hustles, like everybody else does. And I found Lyft. And Lyft, if you don't know what Lyft is, it's a rideshare company, just like Uber. You pick up people, you drop them off. That's it. So at the time, that's what I started doing. I started doing after work, and I was making about $80 a day. And I'm like, yo, what if I did this full time? So I decided to quit my job and started to do Lyft full time. So when I started driving Lyft, my goal was to make I'm sorry, I'm saying all kinds of messages on my phone. So when I started Lyft, my goal every single day was the same goal, to make $200 a day. If I make $200 a day, I know for a fact $40 of it is going to gas, because that's what I was averaging. I have a brand new car. Gas for me ain't nothing. I can drive 400, 500 miles on one tank. But because I was doing it so much and I was trying to make a certain amount of money, I was literally spending $40 on gas every single day. But I was making around $200, so really I'm making like $150. So that was my goal every single day. Either I do 20 rides or I make $200. So that was my goal. Every day I said I would go. I would get up at 3 a.m. in the morning, and I work until I had to hit one of those goals. And that's what I was doing to make the money that I need to make. So I was averaging, if I'm being honest with you, and excuse me if I'm going down, because I did write it down for you guys, so I'll be very accurate. On a week to week basis, I was making anywhere from $1,000 to $1,400-$1,500. The reason why it varies that much is because sometimes I didn't want to drive. You know what I mean? Sometimes I had things to do and I wanted to run errands. Sometimes I didn't want to drive as much. Sometimes I went home early. Sometimes I didn't. So it was anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 a week that I was making. So if you do the math, I'm making no less than $4,000 a month at the age of 21. Granted, understand that at the time I don't live with my parents. So it's not like I had them covering the rent. So I'm living on my own, and that's where the expenses started cutting in. Doesn't matter how much money you're making if you're not really keeping it. So I was spending a lot of money on expenses to the point to where it equated to being, $3,000 in expenses. And when you're making 4 and you're taking 3, you're not really doing anything of significance. Especially if you're working anywhere from 10 to 12 hours every single day. Yes, I'm in the comfort of my own car, but I'm meeting weirdos, you know what I mean? Some very interesting individuals all the time. So if I'm being honest, this is what my expenses breakdown kind of look like. I'll spend around $300 on insurance. Now, it's for a couple different factors. I'm 21. I'm not 26. I'm not 30. I'm not 40. I'm 21. So when you're younger, you're kind of a risk. You know what I mean? I also have a brand new car, like same year at the time, right? So brand new car, you're 21. My insurance was high. So I was paying about $300 every single month in insurance. And understand, since you're financing a car, you're paying full coverage. So that's coming out the door. Because if something happens, gap insurance comes in and so forth. So I was paying $300 on insurance alone. Now I had a $600 apartment that was 1 bedroom, and I'm paying for that. And I was also paying $550 just for my car notes. Now, if you do the math, I'm paying $300 for insurance, $550 for my car notes, and I'm paying rent that's $600. Now, I also had a phone bill of $300 because at the time I had 2 phones. Why you need 2 phones? Girl, I had 2 phones because I wanted 2 phones, and if I wanted, I went and got it. So, not the smartest move when money's coming out your pocket, but at the time I could afford it. So I did it, and I had 2 phones. So if you're doing the numbers and you're tracking it with me, then you see that's $1,750 on just those 4 things alone. Is that 4 things? Phone bill, rent, car note, insurance. So $1,750 is on those expenses. Now I also told you that I was spending I was also spending $40 a day on just gas. So for the entire month, I am spending about $1,200 on gas. You may not look at it at the time, but if it's coming out your bank, it's coming out your bank. So I'm spending about $1,200 on gas every single month. That's a lot. So when you add up the expenses of $1,750 and the $1,200, that's $2,950. So almost $3,000 is coming out in expenses every single month, and I'm making 4, sometimes a little bit more, but my body is going through so much just to make $1,000. And that's on me because I'm the one who put all those expenses on myself. So a couple things that I learned is that ain't it, okay? Lyft was great. I did about 3,000 rides for them in that 1 year. You could not stop me. I put more than $60,000 on my brand new car in like 8 months. So at the end of that physical year, I made $56,000 with Lyft. Now out of that money, Lyft took their It took about $14,000 out of that money through their expenses, their fees, and so forth. And I also made $20,000 when I was working full time at my pharmaceutical company that I was working for. So at the end of the year, I did make in total amount of money that came from my physical ability to work was $79,000. I did do other side hustles to where the money does come up a little bit more, but I did make $79,000 out of that year. But with my total amount of expenses, honestly, I made less than 30. If I'm being honest, more than half my money was gone out the door every single time. So I really didn't make any. And at the end of the fiscal year, all I was doing was paying bills and not saving anything.
So my camera died in the last 10 seconds of this video. But if you did like the video, feel free to comment, like, and subscribe.
Couldn't even be